Okay, so very much welcome to the working group meeting for more balanced geographical representation of accredited NGOs. And we are talking about, of course, the Convention 2003 and those NGOs who are accredited. And we have had these meetings a few times now. And maybe we can have a short round of just, or do we know everybody? Maybe not, or you think we know?
I do, but it depends on the others as well.
Yeah, that's a hard question.
I'm just not quite sure, Martin, where you represent. That's my one question. I mean, I'm familiar with you, but other than that, I'm not.
I represent the Fundación Erigalle, which is an organization based in Colombia, and we work mostly in Colombia and Latin America also.
Right.
What Thanks. Are you doing now in Holland, in Netherlands? You were?
My wife is doing a PhD.
Okay.
So I take care of the children and I do some other things related with our organization, like advisories and consultancies.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yes. Okay. We go to the first agenda item. So welcome to everybody. We will go through the minutes as we did last time. So I will share them on the screen. They are just not very thorough minutes, but you have the video recording, so you can always go back to that. That's why I also decided to make it in a on a pretty light way. You can probably see. So the last meeting we had 27th April, and we had many participants from different NGOs and also some experts. And also we had Jorge and Laurier from the steering committee present. So that was the second meeting. And we have been concentrating mainly on what's the situation of NGOs in different areas or regions, because that's kind of the key question to this all. We are, of course, a working group that's trying to make the thing better with a geographical representativeness of these NGOs, accredited NGOs. But the kind of the basic thing to do is to understand what's the situation in different regions, how the societies regard NGOs and how are they thought of, and what's the situation, what are the realities of the NGOs in different countries and different regions. And this is what we have done, and we will continue with this work. And I think this will be kind of the ongoing work for this working group, that in all of our meetings we can talk about this. And Gulnara, I'm very happy that you promised that you could give us a short presentation about your country's situation, so we can once more have another example how NGOs are recorded and what are the circumstances, what are the realities that they can work in. We were talking about the UNESCO language being a problem, but then again, the convention is using the UNESCO language, so our role is also as a mediator between the communities and the UNESCO convention. But it's good to note. We were saying that this is a huge work. It cannot be done in one meeting or maybe in 1 year or even in 10 years. It's like a fundamental question that we are approaching here. So it's good to note also. We were talking about NGOs being a Western concept, but then we heard from Alan, from Abe, from Mauritius, that it's maybe it's not a good way to say as a Western concept as an historically, but maybe today, like the legal structures of the societies are more in the Western countries that are taking the NGOs into consideration. We were talking about the capacity building for the actions for this working group, that this is important, and Joreen, also you told us about the previous actions, the capacity building actions that has been done, and the idea about the regional capacity building focal points, and maybe to do it like that. We talked about the academia a lot. Well, what are the academia's role in what's the academia's role in this process? And also we were talking how it might be that we have to consider also the downsides of it in a way, that it's not very easy. It's not very simple thing to do, to kind of to get the academia involved in this process. But of course, I think everybody was feeling that there might be a big role for academia and researchers in this work. Then we were talking about the way forward, what we could do, report for the next committee meeting. We were saying that there's so many things to do, so we should concentrate on few tasks, or even one, or so on. Mentoring was said and discussed, and that was kind of maybe the key point. And I would like to hear some points from today's meeting also. If you have how should we go on with this idea of mentoring, that there is that we concentrate on the areas that are underrepresented, and we kind of create some kind of a tool how to do mentoring work if other organizations, accredited organizations, are interested and available, as I think are, but just to kind of create a platform for those to meet. NGOs who are from the underrepresented regions and then would like to be accredited in the future. How could those NGOs get into contact with NGOs already accredited and willing to give some background information and so on? So the mentoring big thing. Also, we were talking about the qualitative and quantitative thing that also we should focus on the NGOs that are already accredited but are not active. But I think these two things, we have to keep them at the same time on our table in a way, that we try to get the already accredited NGOs more active, but also that we concentrate on these areas like Africa, Arab states, South America, to try to find out how what would be the best ways to go forward, and so on. Yeah, maybe that was the basic ideas. Do you have anything to add to the minutes, or anything you remember?
I don't have anything to add to the minutes because I wasn't able to make the meeting, but I just have a sort of broader point about the question of the NGO, the concept of NGOs. I think what's really important for us is to promote the idea that the term NGOs used in the convention is a broad notion. And it includes cultural associations. It includes a whole range of forms of association that may not clearly fit within this sort of standard package of what NGO is understood usually to mean in particularly the Western notion of the concept, which is much more structured, legally recognized, etc. I mean, I know that the Accreditation Forum is quite open in that it doesn't require that you show a legal establishment. But I think in people's minds, you know, you have to have decided you're ready to be accredited before you reach that form anyway. So I think just sending out that message is very important, especially because, you know, it's not just a lack of legal status that may be a problem. It's also that there are some governments that are actively antagonistic towards the idea of non-governmental organizations. And even where I'm speaking from, the term civil society is a dirty word. We have to understand that. Therefore, we have to really concentrate on, you know, the idea of cultural associations. which is a very much more neutral kind of terminology. It can describe all sorts of different sorts of groupings. And so that groups can understand that they do actually fall within this broader term and can present themselves. Yeah. And may I very briefly, the other issue, which I know Kaloyan has heard me bang on about in the steering committee, sorry, is that Asia Pacific as a region has 41 member states of UNESCO and 28 or even 27 NGOs. It's not a well-represented region. Aha, Kaloyan, thank you. And we've talked about this in the steering committee because I really think that I don't think Asia Pacific is sort of formally recognized as an underrepresented region. But Gulnara, you might be able to put me right on this, but I believe it is underrepresented. And if that's the case, then one thing we should be doing is putting that on the agenda too, to make sure that all underrepresented regions are recognized as such. Yes. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Janet. Yeah, I think maybe to which regions to concentrate. I think that the key would be to concentrate to all the other regions, but the group one, which so that would kind of be the point. But of course, we can find some. Yeah, maybe that would be the baseline. And then the first thing that you said, I'm very grateful for you opening the discussion. I think this is very, very important for us to reflect all the time and think about it was said also in the last meeting, maybe I should write it to the minutes, but maybe we have it on the video now, that we were kind of, because we've been thinking about the word NGO and how it's recorded in different societies, and it's not many NGOs think they are NGOs, and that's kind of a problem in many, even in European context, in many countries. And it has been suggested also that we should have a kind of a broader system for another open kind of another accreditation system which would be more open and so on. But then again, it has been mentioned many times that, or now, since we have been thinking about this question a lot, on the other hand, the convention is very open about the concept of NGOs. And as I think, Jora, and you said it last time, that maybe our role is kind of to underline this openness and to translate this openness to different societies, different cultures, so that we know which words to use. Is it the cultural association and so on? But then again, maybe not going too much against the kind of not making it to be a problem if it's not like a problem. We don't have to underline the problem. We can underline the open idea. I don't know if you, Janet, if this is something that you kind of said or.
Totally. I mean, this is absolutely what I was thinking, and I apologize if it was already discussed last time and I wasn't at the meeting. But I think I really do think this is a key point, is to get groups that can be regarded as NGOs for the convention to realize that they do fulfill those criteria, and that they can be accredited.
Yeah, and at the same time take away this heavy load of countries that are not so positive against this NGO ID. If we use the term more like an umbrella for all kinds of cultural organizations in a very open way, and we try to translate and connect this ID, I think our role can be there.
Yeah, but then how to translate that into actions, that's another thing, like how to do it. Is it the accreditation, the application sheet that should be, or where is it recorded?
I think it's before that, because it's at the point that organizations are looking and asking the question, are we NGOs for this convention? And I think it's all about the capacity building and the mentoring aspect. Am I right, Jordan?
Yes, and also because we have had like 5 years of reflection about the form and the criteria now, we should not open that again. They kept it after a large exercise, and I think actually it's a good thing because it keeps being quite open. that way, but that indeed the thing where we can go forward is try to find ways to, from our side, to is it by mentoring, is it by capacity building, whatever is in the means that we have, but to get people to that, to filling that form, because it's not difficult to fill. Actually, that's not the issue, but it's getting them in the network.
So it's before the people go to the form to fill it, some kind of like the basic information that is shared in the UNESCO website or in the ICH NGO forum or by the independent NGOs. That information should be included there. That it's thought as the term. We could kind of we should explain the term NGO, what it means and what.
Yeah, it's in our communication and outreaching strategy, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Is it does it Kaloyan and Janet, is it something that you have been discussed in the steering committee? So do you have any point from this that is this a kind of a basic thing for you? Is this every day or?
Kaloyan, do you want to go ahead or will I? Okay, I think 2 points. Certainly, there's no question that the work of this group is regarded as extremely important. I mean, it's a major priority within the steering committee, and therefore anything which goes towards increasing the likelihood that NGOs, especially from underrepresented regions, will put themselves forward is going to be supported. That's without question. I also should mention that I think you must now be aware of the mapping exercise. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. One thing actually that has been requested of us to do is to revisit the two forms, the accreditation and the evaluation forms. So there is actually an opportunity formally within that process for us to put our thoughts with regard to this forward. So that's something for this working group to bear in mind as to what exactly would be the messages that we might want to go. Yeah.
So if I understood correctly, Joreen, you said that we had the reflection process, which is kind of the basic thing, but there is a chance to revise the actual texts of the forum, or?
There is, but we may decide that from the point of view of what this working group is doing, it may not be necessary because as both Joreen and I have mentioned, it is actually surprisingly open on this particular question. I think actually where it may need revision is in other areas, not this area, but still it's an opportunity that exists. I just want to mention that.
Would we have time to address it in the next meeting, maybe in August, September, or does it have to be before that? Kind of what's the situation with that?
Kaloyan, I can't remember the timings now. You were maybe more up to date.
Sorry?
Until when would there be time for this working group to provide any thoughts on revisions to the forms? I can't remember the dates now.
Me too. I don't.
But I think that if it's around August to September, it probably is still early enough because we're not talking a huge amount of text, right? We're talking about a short suggestion. Yeah, that should be okay.
Yeah, if I may to explain the diagram here, or it's visible and everybody understands. In the left there is states in the convention. You see that it's balanced around 20 states are in a convention. Only the Arab states are 15. And the second diagram is countries with NGOs, with accredited NGOs. You see that in Western Europe and North America, this is 19 countries, and all of countries is 21. 14 countries in Eastern Europe, besides the 23. And we see that 21 country there is in Latin America. Only 6 of them have accredited NGOs. This is that must be worked here, I think. And 25 is countries in Asia Pacific. Only 12 are presented. Only in 12 countries there is NGOs, and in Africa 23 countries in a convention, only 12 countries have NGOs. Arab states 15, only 5 countries are presented with NGOs. And in the right diagram there is a numbers of the accredited NGOs. We can see that Western Europe and North America, there is around 100 NGOs. In Eastern Europe, only 21. It's 21 from 14 countries. This is where I can work, because it's not many countries presented with NGOs here, and 11 NGOs in 6 countries in Latin America. In Asia, 28 NGOs in only 12 countries. It's many, in one country have 2 or 3 NGOs, accredited NGOs. In Africa, 23 we have, in 12 it's same like Asia, and in Arab states there's only 8 NGOs from 5 countries, from all of states were 15, and we have imbalance here on 3 regions that must be worked. 3, 4. I think that it's good to work with NGOs that are in countries is not presented in countries, but there is a problem that some of countries that they have not NGOs like Western means of NGOs, and so on and so on. We already discussed this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Please, Martin.
Yes, I'm sorry, but I have to leave. I just wanted to be here for a while, because I am from Latin America, and I know that it is a very underrepresented region, and I would like to support this group in the future for what you're going to do. Because I was reading the minutes and seeing the presentation, and I agree that the problem is not the form. It's much more a problem of communication and of the real purpose of the accreditation, which is not very clear for the NGOs, for example, in Latin America, and also the language, for example, it's a very big problem, at least in Latin America, because I speak English and I French, but it's not the case for most of the NGOs. So I think the problem is not the form, as Joran was saying. It's an easy form to fill. It's much more about communication, but especially about the communication of the purpose of the accreditation. What is the accreditation for? Why it can be useful for the NGOs, or why it can be, I would like to, maybe in some other meeting I can tell you our story with the convention, because we have been accredited for more than 10 years now, but just the last 3 or 4 years we have been coming, and we have been participating more actively, but also because I am in the Netherlands. Because if I were in Colombia, I don't have the time to work on it if I am in Colombia. But I wouldn't go to the committees if I were in Colombia, and I am part of the evaluation body, which is different. But I wouldn't attend the meetings, because the amount of work is so big, and the meetings you never know what's the purpose of them. Now, after many years going to the committees and after meetings with the NGO forum, I can realize that it's not easy to know. So I think that the main goal is communication, to solve this communication issue. And I am sorry that I have to leave.
Thank you, Martin, for and thanks for sharing this. This is very important, and hopefully in the next meeting you could give the presentation about the Colombia or your organization or your point of views of the subject. It would be very useful, maybe.
Okay, see you.
Okay, thanks. Bye. And Kaloyan, thank you for this chart. I think this is very good that we have the basic data. I think there is something that we have to remember here also with this big picture, that we have these international NGOs also with us, and it's very, very hard to kind of get the information, how the international NGOs, how do they consider themselves? Are they European or are they kind of working in which country? I think that the data, I haven't had the solution to find out the how to do that in a thorough way. Maybe there should be a research done through that. But there is a point that if you take into the consideration the international NGOs, it's not this bad, but it's bad anyways. It's something like okay, maybe 52% not, but it's 45 or so on. So we have the problem anyway. So, but I think it's a good way to remember when we talk about the charts.
I don't understand what's mean now, international NGO.
Like
when it's meant so that we have
working
NGOs
in more than two regions. Working in more than two regions, or working in one region.
Yeah. Interregional or
between the two regionals. Because so international, if you work in Europe or 10 or 15 countries in Africa, it's international too. What is international if European NGO is working in Africa or Asia and not working in Europe?
I think that
this diagram is from the headquarters of the NGOs and from the accreditation lists from UNESCO. We are working in this headquarter. We have in accreditation form international, national level, and but when I search for this, I saw that national or NGO that's work on two or three countries, they point international, and it's. I think we must truly know to understand the applicants, how must they express themselves. Must be explained what is international and what is national and what is regional.
Yeah, it's not very fixed. Yeah, that's true.
It's not fixed in the application form, and that's why we cannot make good directions from this.
But I think it's a good way to anyway, because there are organizations who kind of work as an umbrella organization and work in many regions. So just to admit that there is this variety of organizations.
We made a kind of I don't know, definition. It's not a strong definition, but in the context of the election of the steering committee, I do think we have made some kind of elaboration on what we consider as NGO forum, as international NGO. We have had a reflection at that time, at least, so we could have a look at that.
In the forum is two regional. Okay. Must work into regional, and more than two or two.
Yeah.
But in convention is not.
Yeah, and I wanted just to raise that point too. I mean, I think that coming back to what was said about the lack of clarity of what the role of the accredited NGOs is, I mean, a lot of the problem goes back actually to the committee here. There's a very clear role in the convention, but the committee doesn't want us to fulfill that role. I mean, it's really very simple, which means that it pushes the accredited NGOs into the situation of having to try to find other roles to fulfill, which not necessarily a problem, but it does make it very uncertain as to what is the role. And the other, I think there's another issue about the, calling some NGOs international. There's a potential danger here, which is when the committee does start to, if it ever does, seek the advisory, role from the NGOs, is it automatically going to look at those NGOs that have that particular title and assume they're the ones that are the appropriate partners for the committee because they're called international NGOs? And I think it's something that we have to be aware of, that because there are amongst the national NGOs, there are a number that have that capacity. But, I think it's just an issue that we should clarify. Both of those.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't get the first point. Could you clarify a little, Janet?
Yeah, sorry, just to say that, there is no doubt as to what the role of accredited NGOs is from the point of view of the convention. It's very clear, it's in Article 9. But that particular role, which is in an advisory capacity to the committee, frankly, the committee hasn't up to now wanted NGOs to fulfill that role. Which has left accredited NGOs having to look around for some other kind of role. Yes. So there's a kind of built-in paradox to what we are at the moment. It doesn't mean we can do a lot of useful things, but trying to marry those useful things to the status of being accredited to the convention is the important issue for us.
Actually, I do think that it's more like that the definition of advisory has been taken very narrow all the time. And we have been trying to open that up again and again. And actually, I do think that in the reflection that has been there in the past year, there were a lot of opportunities to open it. But the Secretariat also really doesn't want to go that way. So it's there must be a reason. Maybe it's too soon. Maybe it has to do with the fact that there is an unbalance. It has to do with the forum that is still growing. It has to do with a lot of things. But I do think there was a lot of aspects brought up already in the whole exercise that could open up the advisory role. But maybe we have to take ourselves new steps before we can go there together with the committee and the Secretariat.
And I think also, just to add, the mapping exercise, one of the important aspects of that is to highlight this range of possible areas of advisory activities.
Yeah, it's very good, and I think it's important to understand that as an NGOs, we are not ready like in a perfect situation. We have a lot of work to do, still organizing ourselves and understanding the convention. So to take our time in that, it might be a wise also. So it's kind of a complicated issue.
Well, I do think in the forum, if we do give advice on the forum, that we can really link it to this kind of mapping from the start where your capacities are, and it's not only in the domains, but it can be in several dimensions, so that the committee and the Secretariat know better who they can head to for specific advisory competences.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, Marussia and Alain, welcome. It's very, very nice to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
And Vincento also, nice to see you. I will now, actually, we've been so eager to have the discussions, so we have to go on. Gulnara, we have asked you, and you have replied that it's possible for you to give us a presentation about your country's situation. So please, should I share your slides, or you want to share them? Okay. Please, Gulnara. We can't hear you if you... Oh, yeah, your mic was off. You have to put the no, your microphone is still off. So the microphone button is in the left.
Here. No, it's here. Yeah. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, now it's good.
Something. Okay. Now I should just have a presentation also. Yeah. Are you saying a presentation?
It's not in the presentation mode. We are seeing the I think you should put the presentation and then.
I did, but something is okay. Is it here now on the screen?
We can see it now, but it's not the PowerPoint presentation mode. But it's okay if it's
okay. Yeah. Actually, it is PowerPoint in my computer, so I don't know what is. Yeah. Okay, hello everyone, nice to see you. So thank you, Mari, for asking to share our ideas about ICH NGOs in Kyrgyzstan. My colleague just has landed, so I'm along to present it. Well, coming back to the idea which Janet was talking about, NGO. In Kyrgyzstan, I mean, in our context, NGO, it does mean a legally registered organization, which could apply to the state or to the other foundation for any kind of support. If you are not registered, you are not an NGO. So, I mean, it's about formal organization in our context, in our country. So we have a lot of formal and non-formal groups, and they do a lot of interesting and diverse activities around ICH, from promotion to safeguarding. And as I just told, it's formal groups are represented by registered NGOs. We have a lot, I'll show later, and we have very big number of non-formal groups. It's different kind of practitioners, cultural activists, advocates, and so on. There was no, I mean, special research on registered or non-formal NGOs, and probably it is the issue to take on. Well, cultural capital is a very strong one in our country. Sometimes it goes together with political one, and current political issues in our country, they are mostly based on cultural issues and cultural ideas and notions. Well, recently we tried to map cultural organizations, formal and non-formal, and we just found out that the biggest groups are concentrated around classic epic manas, around craftsmanship, around traditional sport games, also traditional governing systems and approaches are in the focus of many cultural organizations. Also, family traditions is a strong focus also for the country. Traditional philosophy, spirituality is very important, and probably nobody knows from our group that the first what is I don't know this word. When the first directive probably signed by a new president was exactly about traditional spirituality and philosophy, and he and his team was explaining how it is important to be back to the traditional forms of beliefs and so on. Folk music and folk painting, it's also one of the central fields of ICH in the country. So there is a very strictly division between, coming back again to the point which Janet was touching, somehow a very strictly division between cultural NGOs and non-formal groups and civil society organizations. Actually, these groups very rarely get together, very rarely. And if it's about civil society organizations, it is about human rights, it's about gender and other things. While cultural NGOs and groups, they work on cultural issues. And I mean, gender is a part of culture, but not civil society organization nor cultural NGOs try to cover these, I mean, points, which is very pity. And recently, a draft of the law on foreign agents was developed. Not recently, it's about 2 years. And a new political team is going to promote this law. And many civil society organizations are concerned because the control on their funds and on their impact on the activities would be taken further. While again, cultural NGOs are very flexible and do not participate in meetings or in other activities which civil society organizations are trying to undertake. We have several shared ICH platforms, and a biggest one was initiated and started by the state. It's the World Nomad Games. We had 3 games in 2014, 16, and 18, and it was a huge gathering 3 times. It was a huge gathering of different kinds of ICH bearers and manas, epic tellers, musicians, artisans, athletes, traditional political activists, philosophers, and a lot of other cultural practitioners took part in these events. So the Kyrgyz state could be considered as the main actor, I mean, engaging in the cultural field. And again, it is the probably indicator how it is important cultural capital in our country. Another big regular shared platforms, it's OIMO. OIMO, it's each year in the summertime we have craft practitioners meetings, and it's also with many other cultural elements like singing, chanting, dancing. We have the competition of poet improvisators each year. It's a very big shared platform, and many other platforms work, and they are regularly work. And the state, as well as the non-governmental organizations like IGNE, for example, they support this kind of platforms. As I just mentioned, World Nomad Games used to be the biggest ICH platform. We tried to map all the kind of practitioners, and it's still in Russian or in Kyrgyz even, and you just can have an idea how big and how diverse this platform used to be. However, in 2019, this platform was, or 18, it was moved to Turkey by different reasons, and Kyrgyz are very quick to create new platforms. So this year, they just would start a new world, as is called a world platform. It's Akbata Forum, but actually is a blessing. Blessings are given in different situations and places, and they have various content, intention, and meanings. So Kyrgyz would like to start World Akbata Forum in June 21st. It will last for 3 days. Now there is a concept, a plan, and I mean, different kind of sharing platforms on TV, radio. You can see how they try to have a new something world, international, shared. It's hard to tell how sustainable it would be, but a new political team is fully engaged in this initiative and supports, partly financially. But as far as I know, the main financial donor here is Turkey. So it's a kind of political a political interest which expressed through the cultural activities again. And I would like to bring your attention to the Christensen Fund, which actually now doesn't work in the region, but the Christensen Fund came here in 2004. And for example, the Guinea Cultural Research Center was actually organized and formalized because of the invitation, a personal invitation of the Christensen Fund. And the Christensen Fund is a very rare Western model, fund of a very rare Western model, because they from the very beginning, they didn't support well-established political or civil organizations. They started searching for new actors. And for example, at that time in 2004, I used to work at the American University as a top administrator, but I also always was publishing my academic articles. And the Christensen Fund's new regional officer, he approached me and he explained what was their need, what kind of the organizations they needed. And so in a short time, I left AUCA and started the Guinea. And now we have about 25 organizations, NGO, registered, very well formalized, with capacity built, which the Christensen Fund helped to bring to life. So one organization which used to work with the Christensen Fund is a rural development fund. And I'm talking about rural development fund because it's a second accredited NGO. They are not very active yet, but I guess it's just a question of time. They will join the NGO forum, and I believe they will be pretty active because they have capacity to do that. And actually, how to overcome this unbalanced, situation. When Guinea was accredited, we worked with a few mission similar organizations, and we tried to explain about the role of convention, about the motivation to be accredited. And for one of these organizations, for the Rural Development Fund, our work worked well. They were motivated, they were interested, and they got the accreditation. I guess it happened in 2019. Here you can see the recent event which happened just a few weeks ago. It's Biennale, and here you can see the logos of the cultural registered NGOs participated. It's about 21 organizations participated, and one of the criteria was to be exactly an NGO, to be registered, to be, what it does mean to be registered? It does mean to be recognized by local financial structures like social fund, like tax policy, and so on. So about 20 organizations participated. They presented the activities, the products of the activities. And you can have a question, why so few accredited NGOs in the country with so strong cultural capital and a lot of formal and non-formal groups. So there are, several reasons, and many of these reasons were mentioned already. We have different concept language in many cases. I do mean some questions in for example, UNESCO lists. Let's have an example, or even in the convention, it's pretty, it's strange and unusual for the local actors. It is the main reason. We clearly understood that because 2 last years, we worked with the different communities around the country on the convention, and we translated. It is just only, it used to be in Russian, but now it's translated in Kyrgyz also. We tried to translate from Kyrgyz to another Kyrgyz because the ideas was not pretty clear, and I guess it is a main challenge which we should take into consideration. Another reason is law awareness, law knowledge about the convention. Even Guinea became aware about the convention pretty late. We started our activities in 2004, and we became engaged and interested in the convention and in the UNESCO work just in about 10 years. And the reason was not our initiative or our understanding how important it is. The reason was that the National Commission of UNESCO at that time didn't have experts to write nomination files. They had, but all these nominations were very far away from the real ICH life, and it was top-down proposals. So one day the National Commission understood that should change an approach. They approached the IGINA Center, and we started working, and then we learned the convention, the other UNESCO activities. So probably the idea to, not to advisory, but another kind of mechanism to inform people, to raise awareness, it's very important. And also one of the probably serious and significant reasons, financial restriction. All cultural NGOs, I do mean registered organization, they work based on the foreign grants. Just a few of them could use some internal resources. So, I mean, it's very hard to be interested in the convention if you need to survive each day. So it's one of the serious reasons. And surely the reason which was mentioned twice today, at least twice, it's insufficient knowledge of English or French languages. But in this connection, probably we need to think how to use other UNESCO languages. UNESCO has at least 6 working languages. Russian was one of them, and Central Asia is a post-Soviet region. All our countries are still using Russian language. In capital towns like Almaty or Astana, or Nur-Sultan, Bishkek or Dushanbe, a lot of NGO work primarily on Russian. It is even a problem that civil society organizations, they do not speak Kyrgyz, and they far away from I mean, real life sometimes because of the this language restriction. In their case, it's Kyrgyz language. But in the cases of cultural organizations and NGOs, it is Russian, English, and other languages. So, I mean, but Russian is much easier to use. So probably here our suggestion or our work could be to widen the number of working languages, at least to have 6 languages, which UNESCO announced as the main working languages. Yeah, so it's just very last point about current challenges and drawbacks. as I just tried to show that non-formal groups and NGOs, they contribute greatly to recognition, promotion, and safeguarding cultural values and lifestyle. And it's absolutely undoubted point. At the same time, especially taking account the political situation which happened after October 2020, we can see very ambiguous impact of the cultural, of the traditional culture on the current politics in Kyrgyzstan. We used to be a parliamentarian country. Now we are just a purely presidential country. In our case, in our context, it does mean a very serious shift from liberal values, from liberal standards to and human rights. It is a time, I guess, for such organizations as IGNE is and probably Rural Development Fund and other to reflect seriously on this interconnectedness between traditional culture and current politics. Yeah, and surely we have a serious challenge to cooperate and produce consolidating and mutually respectful ideas with civil society organizations. And we have other challenges. So I am finishing my short presentation with just challenges. Sorry for that. Thank you for your attention. Yeah.
Thank you, Gulnara. I really like this method that we can have these presentations. It gives us a lot of understanding. I think we should really continue. Thank you, Gulnara. Any comments or questions to Gulnara?
Yeah, I'm trying to remove the presentation or probably put that here. Okay. Mm-hmm.
If I may, Matti?
Please, please.
I was very, very interested to note that the two NGOs that have become accredited, or the one yours and the one that you're that is becoming accredited, were both ones that were established as a result of the activities of the Christensen NGO. I can't remember its name, the outside NGO. And I wonder, is this because the people that they approached were people who have a sort of more of an international experience? Obviously, you have language skills. Is it because of the skill set that you already had that they approached you, and that made you more able to then later become accredited? Is that what happened?
Oh yeah, Janet, it's a very, good question for me because it was a question for me also many years ago. I guess the person, Dr. Rafik Kishavji, he used to work in Central Asia at the time. He knew the region very well. He used to work for Aga Khan Foundation for many years, and he was disappointed deeply by the activities of civil society. And he saw that the cultural capital and cultural issues were not in the focus of the civil society organizations, and the gap between a lot of people living in the countries of Central Asia and a few civil society organizations was getting bigger and bigger, this gap. And he tried to bring to life new kind of organization. It was an absolutely new philosophy. And he started searching. He tried to approach me a few times, but since I was too busy, I could not meet with him about 2 years. And then finally we met, and he explained me what is the problem. I saw this problem also. Even I used to work in the Western organization at the time, in the American University. I worked with the cultural practitioners, and I knew the problem. I understood him very well, and I was briefly convinced to start this kind of work. As for the Rural Development Fund, they started earlier. They started earlier, but the activity was changed rapidly after the Christensen Fund, after the Christensen Fund connection with this fund. They started be focusing on the cultural issues also. So I demonstrated you about, yeah, I'll just show probably here. All these organizations, almost all, I mean, excluding the foundation of the former president of Rosa Tumbaeva, they started with the Christensen Fund initiative. Well, when I tell about an initiative, I don't like to tell that they tell what kind of things should be done, how you should know. They just would approach a person like me and tell, well, we have read your article on sacred sites, for example. Do you have an idea how this could be done, not in academic, but in applied manner? So, yes, okay. So, I mean, it was a very selective, very careful, very thoughtful way to start. And it was a way to have very sustainable organizations. All of these organizations are sustainable. Even the Christensen Fund left the region. They stopped working probably 3 or 4 years ago, but all these organizations are alive still. Now I'm a member of the Soros Foundation, a member of the advisory board, and I was just so surprised to know that they support the Soros Foundation as a civil foundation. They have supporting their grants receivers for 30 years, 25, 30 years. The Christensen Fund supported just for 10 years. The longest time was 10 years for us and 10 years for the rural development. And then they left, but all the organizations still are active. So, and sometimes I am asking the question, if the Soros Foundation would leave the region, or other, UNDP, other would leave the region, what would be with their grant receivers? They used to have a lot of money, but the impact on their life is not as visible as the impact of these organizations. So we have a problem in the political field, because I mean, all these organizations, many of these organizations are very traditional oriented, and they support, I mean, very traditional way of governing in the political field also. It's that challenge which I described in my last file. Yes, Janet, just summarizing, the Christensen Fund started from very careful search for their future grant receivers. And it was a very analytical work. And they didn't ask about huge proposals. They didn't about very sophisticated reports. They had very simple forms, very simple, very non-formal, and that helped us to learn many things. Yeah.
Thank you, Gulnara.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. This is very interesting. And we had from Marussia, we had this question, and also Janet, you have an answer to the chat. I think we will start wrapping up, because we tried to do it in 1 hour. Maybe we are now maybe a few minutes more. We would have a lot of questions and good conversation that we could have still, but I think it's also better to keep going. So Marussia, you asked about how could we tell our stories. I think it's very important, and I think, do you have something to add to this? Because I think Janet's answer is very good, that by telling your experience in your area, in your country, in your region. I think this is very like the key point. But please.
Well, if I can just say something about the question of mine, it was just about the point that we are not really sure of if we are allowed to say that we are an NGO accredited. and how to say it. Like, for example, we are having a second edition of a book on the traditional song and dance of Mauritius. And we thought it would be interesting for people to know that as the publishers, we are an NGO accredited, but we've been looking at the convention and all the structure of UNESCO, and it's just that we are a bit at a loss. We're not sure if we are allowed to say it or not. And this would be something for us, which we could start by being able to say that we are NGO accredited, but we are a little bit not sure if what can be said, how it can be done. And so the question is, if like you people, you have a long experience and you've been accredited for a long time, are we allowed to say that?
Thank you, Marisa, for bringing this up. And I'm sorry also you asked me I didn't have a time at the time, but I think it's a very good if Janet or anybody knows, but this is or Kaloyan to the also for the steering group, steering committee that I talked about with Marussia about this kind of a problem that also it would be. It should be set in a simple manner how we can advertise our NGOs as being accredited, and this is not said. So we are kind of making the solutions like one by one or at a like a NGO at a time, and this is maybe not the right way to go forward. If you understand it, yeah. But please,
well,
you have
if I may, I think. My understanding and our experience is that there's no problem with saying it because we are officially listed on the website. And maybe it's not bad even when, I know in the introduction to book, you can't necessarily do this, but to put the link to your listing on the UNESCO website, because that is basically saying, look, this is formalized and it's published. But where there are limits are, first of all, using the logo. I mean,
yes, this we know we are not allowed to use the emblem.
And the other one, which is kind of interesting, is that I got the strong impression from the Secretariat at one point that although we can say we're accredited, we have to be very careful about what we say with regard to what that means with regard to our status, particularly related to the committee.
Interesting, because you know this.
So there are sort of limitations, but we can say it.
I think it will fit our purpose to be able to say it and to publish it in a book, because the book is going to be sold in the region. So it's going to help other NGOs, the civil society in the region, to know that there is this possibility. So it fits our purpose.
Yeah, and I think the way to do it is to say, like, accredited to the Intergovernmental Committee, according to Article 9, what is it, 3? I can't remember now, I wrote it, of the treaty. So you really very specifically show it's within that framework.
But that's I share this problem, but you have it's very normal that you don't have the space for the for 20 words, and that's like when you have a press release. Can you say that you are accredited by UNESCO? Is this I think it's not discussed anywhere. So
now here I'm going to be very legalistic. We're not accredited by UNESCO. We're accredited to the committee of the Intergovernmental Committee. I think that's a really important point, how we describe it.
Yeah. So
now
it's and Kaloyan has something in the chat. He's put in the chat.
But the thing also that we must take into consideration that even if we don't say that, people around us, the newspapers, the magazines are saying that we are accredited because it's written in this way on the UNESCO website. So you see, the problem is that everybody is saying it, but we are we're not allowed to say.
Yeah.
So it's a bit confusing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kaloyan. Yes.
Yeah, I share your feelings, but I can't kind of Please, Kaloyan.
2 years ago, we have a question to the Secretariat from Tajikistan that they want some kind of certificates from Secretariat to send to all accredited NGOs that can show to where needs.
Okay.
But we have no answer till now. But we can make again some kind of document that is accredited in Convention 23. It's okay. I think.
So you think? Oh yeah, that's good. Janet, do you think this is the safe way to say it? Accredited to UNESCO's 2003 ICH Convention.
Yeah, I think so, because that is strictly correct in that the accreditation is to the convention and its organ. It's not to UNESCO.
Yeah.
But by this formulation, we include the name of UNESCO in it with regard to the convention. So it's a way of being formally strictly correct, but using the UNESCO name.
Our organization is using ICH partner of UNESCO because NGO partner of UNESCO is different. It's for many conventions.
May I add, Madi?
Yes, Clara, please.
Just how we did motivate Rural Development Fund to be accredited. It was a financial motivation, which just explains that an accredited NGO could apply for different kind of UNESCO grants. And at the time already got some funds from Intangible Cultural Fund. And that was the strongest probably motivation to that motivation works well, a financial one. An accredited NGO could apply for different kind of financial support, and as Janet mentioned, to participate in different kind of activities and so on.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah, good. Okay, we go on about the future of this working group. I think we will go on with this hearing the presentations from different area. I think nobody is opposing this, and then talking about the activities of our work. I think we shouldn't go too fast. We have been talking about mentoring, but not like. Should we have a webinar in the future, or should we start building a site for where the people and the experts and the organizations could meet? But maybe we just leave it to be the ongoing reflection. As I've said before, that we are not an official working group, but we are strongly supported by the steering committee, as Janet and Kaloyan has mentioned also. And of course, we are grateful for this, but we are waiting for that to happen when we get the organizations. Would it be Gulnara, your organization, could you be kind of an official partner for this working group? Would it be possible? Because we have now Abe and the Finnish Folk Music Institute are willing, but we should have 5 organizations to be part of it.
Yes, surely, Mari, you can just count us as the official partner.
Okay.
Yeah. And there will be 2 more people working with me. As I wrote to you, that 2 more girls, they are just landed from the field. So they just didn't manage to join. Surely, yeah.
That would be great. And then other thing that I've mentioned before also, that I've been now the contact person for this working group, but the idea has been from the beginning that we have somebody to chair the working group from other than from group 1. And I think everybody agrees to this. But I would now publicly ask you, Gulnara, would you be willing to to chair, or I don't know if I have I asked you before, but you or then your employees, could it be possible for you in the future to chair? I will of course help, and if needed, or
what do
giving
you
the
mean,
memos.
Mari, by sharing? Do you mean, I mean, facilitating activity? Yes, we already doing that in another group. What do you mean by sharing?
I think there is, I don't know if Kaloyan or Janet can help me, but with the working group, it has, I think, been so that there is a chairperson, but that's kind of the as formal as it goes. So just like one person who's in charge, and in my mind, it would be so that you would be running these meetings. Just what I've been now kind of chairing.
I'm afraid we need to. I need to discuss with the
please, yeah.
the team. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, we'd be grateful, but just an idea. Yeah, and we will. Yeah, it's totally okay. Say no, also. So it's not.
Yeah.
Just to say, I strongly second this proposal from my end, Matti.
Okay. And what about? I mean, what about moving chairs? Not just a stable one, but you are doing now, and the next time could be a different chair, and then a different chair. What about this approach?
I think that would be good. Also, in my experience, it's sometimes it's a little bit dangerous, so that it will, if nobody has kind of the main responsibility for the actions, then there's a danger of it kind of forgetting the process. But then, if we have this kind of a team for that, that would be a good. It might be a good way to go forward also.
Sorry, Matti, I missed why you cannot be a chair. Did I miss?
Just the idea, because we are concentrating on the geographical imbalance, and the problem, as Kaloyan has said, that the group 1 is overrepresented. So it wouldn't be kind of nice to get from the group 1's point of view to start the discussions and so on. So it would be much better if there would be kind of the chair would be from another group.
Yeah, I missed. Okay, let us discuss. I mean, using the team, and then
yeah, that's great. Okay, I don't know if I have forgot anything. We have in Europe, in Finland, we have the holiday season coming, so that in the late August, September, I will be kind of present at the office again. Would it be okay if as soon as so we have the next meeting then, or do you have any additional? And also, I will please from the steering committee, if you hear about if we should address in this meeting, in the coming meeting, about this accreditation form, I think that would be a very good topic, very concrete topic for us to have go on with the discussion. So please inform us. And yeah, I wonder if I have forgot anything. Maybe I check the.
So, Matti, as soon as,
please.
What do you mean? What time duration do you mean?
About the next meeting, you mean, or?
Yes, about the next meeting.
So it would be in the late, maybe in September. In reality, yeah, in September.
In the middle of September.
Maybe in the middle of middle of September we will try to do that.
Okay.
Yes, I will send you a doodle before, as we have done before. So.
So we will celebrate our first anniversary, I think, in November.
Anniversary of
this working group.
Accreditation group.
Yeah.
The working group.
And and the meeting will be in Sri Lanka, the committee meeting. So for there we will. Okay, yeah. Bye, Janet. Thanks for being here. We'll see you. So in Sri Lanka, but of course we don't know the situation, how the world will go. But hopefully we can meet there, and we will have some kind of report of our actions, and have go on with these meetings. But I don't know if Kaloyan, do you have any information about the Sri Lanka? Is it, or maybe there is
I
no.
don't know. It's December.
Yeah, it's in December, but is it going to be take place?
Yes, nobody know till now.
Yeah.
Is everybody vaccinated already?
In Sri Lanka or here?
Yeah, it may be. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have the first dose. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
have 2 doses. Okay, I'm
that's
already.
good.
Yeah, me too.
I'm already.
Yeah.
I have some proposal that to publish a preparation group of working group of imbalance to publish on a website of ICH NGO Forum as a preparation group. And when we have already 5 NGOs, I don't know, is it need to be written to the steering committee paper, written letter to establish this, or somebody will send information, the numbers of and the name of NGOs that established the group, because it's not from many years, and there is establishment of some of groups was very easy, and they say okay, we established now, and but last year we have already a document that it's written how to be, and Matis want to be how it's written. Okay, and it may be published with a preparation, and to be on a website, and videos, link to videos of the meeting. And I will talk in a steering committee with this, if you allow me.
Yeah, please. Yeah, I think the process is now that we have 3 officially the NGOs, Abe and Gulnara's. Sorry, I forgot your again.
Okay.
Again.
Yeah, and it's okay. You can write the email with the name of NGOs, and will be open, not preparation group, but already established working group.
Actually, Mari, we can approach a Tajik accredited NGO. I can approach and ask him, and then write to you. I mean,
that would be, please do that. Yes.
Do that.
Yeah. Yes. And if you have any connections yourselves, I just told in the beginning that I just wrote emails yesterday to all the emails that I could find from the ICH NGO Forum's website from the 3 regions, and I got some answers already. And so please share the spread the word.
And when we have a meeting, we can share on the news in a ICH NGO Forum with the link, and there which will be more know of all of them, I think.
Yeah, that's what I've kind of thought. Should we go more public or not? I haven't, but maybe we should. Yeah, that's good. We could be more.
It's good. Yes.
Yeah. We do that next time. Then it's good. Yeah. Okay. Any other, please, Marusia?
We would just here like to be really supportive to the proposal of Mati to get Gulnara as the chairperson of this group. I think it would be something like a landmark for boosting the little group.
Good. Thank you. I'm grateful for this. Great.
And are you people celebrating Music Day on Monday? Is there any kind of activity that you will be doing for Music Day?
It's every day is Music Day here in Kausti.
It's April 25 in Kyrgyzstan, a traditional music day.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, just to yes. Sorry.
Is it like an International Music Day next Monday?
Well, it was established many years ago in France, and because we've got links with France, we follow this culture here. So on Monday, it's a very big day, but because of the pandemic, there will be different manners to celebrate. And at Aberdeen, we are going to have a stream video on our Facebook. So if you want to see the traditional music of Mauritius, you can
okay, great.
just visit us. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing this. Yes, very good.
Thank you, Mari, for wonderful sharing, for very coherent, minutes. And for the online video, I learned it today. I watched. Thank you. Yeah, it helps a lot.
Yeah, I think it's good to have it on. Yeah. And thank you for Kaloyan, and also Gabriela has done good work. So it's possible and easy with the help of the forum and the steering committee, of course. Okay, any other things to say? If not, then have a good weekend, and I was very, very delighted to see you all.
See you again, everybody, in September.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice music day.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mari. Bye.
Thank you.